guys, Craig Summers here. Wanted to do an after-action report on intermediate distance fighting rifle from Tactical Response. I'm on my way back to Houston from Camden, Tennessee, where I spent the last 2 days taking that course for the second. The reason why I went and took this class in Camden, other than the fact that I got to take it for half price because I had taken it before, was one, it was my favorite class that I've ever taken, and two, they only offer it once a year, which I asked Jay about that. And he said typically anytime you have the word distance involved in any type of class title or description, a lot of people get the misconception that you're doing really long distance stuff. You need a scope and stuff like that. So this is not the case. This class is really designed to, you take that same rifle that you use at pistol distances, that you've done, fighting rifle with. You don't change anything. You're using the same red dots, iron sights, whatever. A couple guys had an AAR or a 1-4 scope. You basically take that same rifle and you start learning how to work at 100, 152, 200 yards plus. So distances, you're working with team. Typically it's you and another person working for the majority of the drills. Sometimes you'll get 3 or 4 guys in there. And so it's a lot of team movement, engaging multiple targets at distances, shooting from the different positions. So a lot of people get the misconception of what it is, so I just wanted to, hopefully this after-action report will help out with that. Class was in Camden, Tennessee, May 21st and 22nd, Saturday and a Sunday, and the weather was just gorgeous. I don't think you could have asked for better weather. It was out at one of their ranges where they do, I believe, the contractor classes. So our 2 instructors were Calvin Lim and Jay Gibson, and there were 7 of us there taking the class. All of us there were multiple alumni. So the first day we got there, we spent about the first 30 minutes or so zeroing our rifles at 50 yards and making sure our zeros were good, checking both optics and irons. And after that we started started kind of progressing in drills, working steel plates at 100, 150, even 200 plus yards. So the first day was spent basically working with a partner, moving and shooting. There were a couple drills where you would engage a target and then you would move, trying to get out of their, trying to get off the X or getting out of their scope, moving to a different spot, hitting the target, moving to a different spot, hitting the target. So that was a really good drill with teaching you to shoot and move and shoot and move. We also had some other drills where bounding rear and engaging multiple targets. During the bounding, when teammate's moving, he's only up for a short time. You're up, he sees you, you're down, as Jay would call it. So we spent about the rest of the first day just kind of slowly progressing with some team movement and using cover, shooting from cover and barricades behind some trees at distance. You also learned at that point what your different holdovers were. We only went out to about, on the first day, to about a little over 200 yards with zero magnification red dots. A couple people were running iron sights, but there really wasn't that much of a holdover at that distance. But when you're shooting from the different positions, say fetal position, you typically hold magazine side high. So as I said, we spent the rest of the day working team movements, bounding, getting to cover, and engaging targets at distance. So the second day, this morning, we kind of picked up where we left off, and a lot of the drills from today were basically working on patrols as a 2-man team. You're working on a patrol. You've got contact front. We worked on contact front, contact rear, contact left and right. And basically what would happen is you have a two-man team, you're patrolling, Jay will call out a threat, or Calvin would call out a threat. You and your teammate would engage that threat, and the goal is just to keep one gun running at all times, and you would bound back towards cover and then get away. There were some other ones where you and your partner were walking to each other. I think Jay called that getting caught out in the open. And basically what that was is two guys walking to each other. You get caught out in the middle, and you start engaging targets. And at that point in time, since you weren't together in the first place, the best thing to do is go back to where you were when you weren't getting shot. So the goal on that is once you start making contact, you engage the threat. You after you've engaged them one or two times, you move, drop positions, change levels, whatever, engage them again, move, kneel, prone, sidestep, whatever, engage them, and you continue moving and shooting until you are in the clear of that target. So we spent some time doing that. One of the coolest things that we did that we think it was fairly new, I didn't get to experience this when they did it in 2014, was Jay taught us how to shoot through cover, and primarily through foliage, and shoot through trees and brushes and whatnot. And one of the cool things that he brought up is he said to if you're shooting through some brushes or some trees or some branches or whatnot, you got to make sure that you've got the same type of concealment behind you as well, so that way you don't show yourself before you fire that first shot. Now when you typically fire that first shot, you start to give yourself away just by noise. If it's at night, you got muzzle flash, or the rustling of the leaves. Maybe if you're on prone, if you're doing prone shooting, the dirt's going to kick up and they'll see that dust. But so if you're shooting through foliage or branches, leaves, whatnot, it's best to have that same cover behind you, so to the enemy it is just one-dimensional for them. So if you didn't do that, he brought up a good point. He said, let's say you're shooting through foliage and you've got behind you blue sky, it's easy to pick your outline out. So that was really cool, shooting from there. And then towards the end of the day, we did a lot of is basically calling out different targets. Calvin and Jay would call your shot, and you'd have to engage them. He would call out three hits, right target. So you would have to move, make 3 hits on your right target, and then he'd call out another one. You would move then again, so getting off the X or getting out of the scope of the enemy. And the last drill of the day was it encompassed 3 teams. We had an Overwatch team up on top that was shooting about 250, 300 yards. And then you had a team up front that was bounding rear, a team back and to one of the sides that was going to leapfrog, and you all had to meet up at a location. So as the team up front is engaging their targets, they're working as a team bounding rear. As the team towards the back and to the side, they're trying to leapfrog while engaging targets. And then your Overwatch is basically providing cover in case something happens. So that was really cool to play all the different, get involved with all 3 aspects of it, and just kind of see how the team works. A lot of the guys that were there had done contractor classes before, and they called it basically it's a 2-day mini contractor class. It's a lot of teamwork, a lot of movement, and you're shooting from anywhere from 100 to 200 yards, working as that team. So that was a fantastic class. Just kind of refreshed some of the stuff that I had taken, like I said, back in 2014. So really enjoyed it. The gear that I took, I was shooting a Daniel Defense DDM4 V11, ran flawlessly, and I actually dropped in a KAK. It's the same people that do the stabilizer blades. I dropped in one of their melanite or nitride and bulk carrier groups, and ran that. And I've got some pictures from that I'll probably put up somewhere, put up later. But ran flawlessly. That gun was kind of boringly reliable. So that's what I had. Ran a Hollow Sun 503 up on top, and I was impressed with that. I'm probably going to do another review on that in a later video, because I think that is probably one of the best, if not the best, mid-price point optics that you can buy. The value that you get for that is ridiculous. I did run a chest rig. I ran my HSGI battle belt. Big review on that one as well. I've run that. I basically have had that same setup for probably for the last 2 years or so. I've modified it, and it's stayed somewhat minimalist since then. So it was a great class. Gun ran great. Really didn't have any epiphanies with gear or anything like that, but it was just great to rehash and go over some of the stuff that I learned a couple years ago. So I had a great group of guys that were shooting. A couple police officers, had a pharmacist, had an optometrist, and a few other guys there as well. So great group of guys, great weekend, gorgeous weather. And so guys, if what I just talked about something that y'all would be interested in doing, go ahead and write up to call Marilyn, Jay, whoever up in Tactical Response. Let them know that you'd want to take the class. The only problem though is that I think we just took the only class of the year. So I'm surprised that it isn't offered more. So I think that's something that a lot of people don't really know what's involved. And I think if they got a better understanding, hopefully this video will help clear up a lot of stuff, and help bring to light what's involved in that class. So yeah, go ahead and write up there, guys. Let them know if that's something you want to do. Maybe they can put a couple more dates on the schedule and get that ball rolling. So anyway, had a great time on my way back. It's gonna be a long drive back to Texas, and you guys have a good evening, and we'll catch y'all next time. Thanks.